I'm currently working on some other videos, but it's taken a while to get everything together. In the meantime, here's a short video about the funeral elegy of William Peter of Exeter. A brief history of it is, in 1989, using computer analysis, Professor Donald Foster attributed this 578-line poem to William Shakespeare. Later in 2002, Foster conceded to other researchers that it was more likely the work of poet and playwright John Ford. According to Joseph Sobran in Alias Shakespeare, his 1997 book, written before Foster had changed his mind, the poem was not originally for the dedicatee William Peter of Exeter, but for someone else. Though it has a publishing date of 1612, Sobran suggested it was written many years before and, like some other Oxfordians, believed it may have been an early work of Edward de Vere, written in the 1570s. Sobran also suggests that the publisher could have been Thomas Thorpe, who had acquired the sonnets A Lover's Complaint and possibly the Elegy. He published the first two in 1609, years after Oxford's supposed death in 1604, and when the opportunity presented itself, Thorpe published the Elegy. Now, I have no idea whether or not anyone still wonders if this is a work of William Shakespeare, or if that idea has been completely abandoned because it's been proven beyond all doubt that he did not write the poem. If there's still a possibility that Shakespeare was responsible, then there are some things on the cover that Oxfordians might find interesting. I believe Edward de Vere wrote under the pseudonym William Shakespeare, and if I was looking on the cover for any kind of hint at de Vere's name, a couple things that would stand out to me are the word virtuous, which begins with the letters V-E-R, a variant spelling of the name Vere, and the only example of double V on the cover. A French W is pronounced W, which sounds like double V, and Edward de Vere sometimes used double V to sign his name. There are 3 W's on the cover, but only one where the center lines don't connect, making a double V. And then there are the initials W.S., which could stand for William Shakespeare. I don't know why the publisher only used the author's initials, whoever he might be, but let's start there. When searching for codes to support the theory that Edward de Vere wrote Shakespeare, one of the things we look for are repeated uses of the number 17, because we believe it hints at de Vere's Earl number as the 17th Earl of Oxford. With that in mind, starting from the top of the page, there are 17 words followed by the initials W.S. Next is the double V. Since the letters W.S. stand for 2 words of a name, each abbreviated letter is counted as one word, as is the year 1612. Similar to how there are 17 words followed by the initials W.S., counting from the end of the page this time, there are 17 words followed by the only double V. Lastly, there's the word virtuous. On the 4th line of the cover, the text changes to italicized letters, and if we count the characters on that line, there are 17 characters before the letters V-E-R. Again, Vere is another spelling of the name Vere. Notice how each example I'm pointing out appears on the only lines that begin with italicized letters. These may also be telling us something. First, there's In Memory of the Late, which is 17 letters followed by Vere. Within the dedication to William Peter, is this also a dedication in memory of the late 17? After that, master is the 17th word followed by double V. I'm not exactly sure what master would mean here, but I think Edward de Vere was involved with a fraternal organization like the Freemasons or Rosicrucians, so maybe Master 17 is a reference to his title or rank in the order. And then there's by 17, followed by the initials W.S., letting us know this is a work by the 17th Earl of Oxford. There may be more on the cover, but by simply counting, we find Oxford's Earl number before the letters V-E-R, double V, and initials that can stand for William Shakespeare. As a way to help validate codes, we try to find them in patterns of 3, and here we have 3 examples of information relevant to Edward de Vere that follows his Earl number 17. Again, I don't know if it's been proven with absolute certainty that this is not a work of William Shakespeare, but if there's still the possibility that it is, then could these 3 typesettings I've pointed out have been left as clues to indicate that Edward de Vere wrote the poem? One last item. This doesn't have anything to do with the Elegy, but I have a question for anyone who might see the video who's familiar with Shakespeare code research. in the sonnets there are 13 examples of either the word rose or roses. What you do is count the sonnet number each time either rose or roses appears in a sonnet. Roses appears twice in sonnets 54 and 130, so you count those sonnet numbers 2 times. Add the sonnet number each time either word appears in a sonnet, and you get 993. There are several page numbers in Shakespeare's first folio that are misprinted. One that's way off is the very last page of the book. It should be 399, but the numbers are reversed as 993, and since Rosicrucians sometimes printed things in reverse, is this a number that pertains to them? Online I've read how, using a certain numbering system, one person claims that 993 forms the word baconus, but another person says they don't know how that result was arrived at, and according to them, 993 equals the words, William Shakespeare is Francis Bacon, Lord Verulam, Viscount St. Alban, the author. I don't know the numbering system that was being used there, but I have a suspicion there's something else going on. Because of how this number turns up in the sonnets as a result of the word rose, I think it's more likely to have something to do with the Rosicrucians rather than the name Francis Bacon. If anyone has any ideas about the meaning of the number 993 or anything else I covered in this video, please let me know in the comments. As always, thanks to the work of Alexander Waugh and to you for watching.